Yin Langguang will introduce why Thailand is a winner as a result of globalization. Kai Jie-feng is going to state Thailand's economic development and human development. Zerling Liu might analyze the culture of Australia and Thailand and the trend of cultural distance between them. Nikon Watcher and Zerling Wang will introduce the argument stated by David Ricardo about comparative advantage and industry Thailand should focus on. Also, they will identify and throw light on industry Australia can focus on. So, what is globalization? It's a process of a business or organization develops international influence or begins to operate internationally. For decades, globalization has facilitated economic growth and productivity gains. It helps integrate emerging economic in global markets and have lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. We believe Thailand is a winner as the result of globalization. On July 2, 1997, the Ministry of Finance and the National Bank of Thailand announced to abandon the Thai currencies back the US dollar and adopt a floating exchange rate. The baht fell sharply and financial markets were in turmoil. The devaluation of the Thai baht was seen as the trigger for the financial crisis. The causes of the crisis were many, but the consensus was the result of combination of factors: assets bubble, large current account deficits and excesses, foreign control debt in the financial system. Currencies are artificial pegged to the dollar, locked in at unreal exchange rate, lack of financial transparency. After 1997, the year that the Asian financial crisis happened, from 1998, the participation of trade in GDP of Thailand has raised to 100.24%. Since then, the percentage of trade of GDP is always about 100%, which means the Thailand economy has high degree of openness. And the boom of Thailand economy in 21st century is due to globalization. Even during the global financial crisis, the GFC, Thailand's economic growth fell off, but during the recovery period, it grows rapidly until to the peak. Thailand declined during the Asian financial crisis, but it also recovered quickly. Thailand has textile, electronic, and automobile industry transferred from developed countries. At the same time, as a country which doesn't produce oil, Thailand also has refined and chemical industry. Textile and electronic are labor-intensive industries that have been transferred from developed countries. Thailand is Southeast Asian car production base and there are many Japanese car companies. Thailand refining and chemical industry is also relatively developed. Also, there is agriculture, which export Thai rice and rubber to the country all over the world. Besides, Thai latex pillows are used all over the world. In fact, Thailand's economy is too open and the disadvantage of foreign capital radio is very serious. But after the globalization, Thailand as a winner is still a relatively well-developed country.
Now I will talk about Thailand's economic and human development, also explain which measures development is great to an Australian firm concerning establish a presence in Thailand. First, we can get a general idea of the economic situation in Thailand. Thailand is a new industry country. Its major source of GDP is exports. Additionally, the Thai economy is expected to post 3.8% growth in 2019. Thailand's main sources are industry and service. In economic competitiveness and telecommunications and trade in service. The national standard has two ways to measure levels. One is gross national income per capita. Thailand per capita is $600,000 includes a tax mast. GNI per capita in the world 11,100.88 in 2018. Another one is purchasing power parity. PPP is a sale rate that measures price at different locations using a common base of goods. Thailand GDP at 1.229 trillion in 2017. It's growing slowly every year. That shows that Thai's economy is on the rise. The main reason is that Thailand has a wide exchange rate gap with the US. Second, I will introduce Thailand Human Development. According to the Thailand Development is Freedom, the Human Development Index is a static composite index of life expectancy, education, and per capita income indexes, which are used to rank countries into 4 types of human development. Countries saw higher HDI when the lifespan is higher, the education level is higher, and the gross national income GNI per capita is higher. Now we look at the Thailand HDI through data. The HDI is the 0.755 and rank 83 in the world. Economists see a HDI of less than 0.8 must be uneven distribution of wealth in the hands of few. 3 measures respectively. First is life expectancy. At birth that Thailand is 75.5 years, and the World Health Organization puts Thailand at 70, which is slightly above the world average. Second, education attainment that except years of schooling is the 14.7 years. That Thailand ranked 116 in the world. The final, whether average incomes are sufficient to meet the basic needs of the life. In Thailand's inequity adjusted HDI is 0.636. Finally, economic development is of great significance to the Australia firm considering establishing a presence in Thailand. There are several reasons. For example, the history of Thailand is very good compared to Australia. Australia and Asian's background has a big difference in it is not comparatively. Also, if we compare to HDI, Australian Human Development Index is higher than Thailand. Australia has higher level of education than Thailand, and Australia have a longer life expectancy than Thailand. The number of middle class and tourist results and people happiness index are relatively high. Therefore, it is not so meaningful for Australian companies to develop humanities in Thailand. However, if Australia set up a factory in Thailand, they can use their cheap labor, reduce time and costs, so that output is less. Australia can outsource that company to Thailand. Thailand economy will grow.
The third question is, are the cultures of Australia and Thailand becoming more similar or more disparate? We can analyze it through 6 basic points. The first is social structure. For Thailand, since 1932, the change of social structure in Thailand provides a good clue for people to understand its political development. The selection and firm pursuit of democratic become the transformation hub for the change of social structure to promote the development of democratic politics in Thailand. In Australia, people's wages strictly abide by the principle of more work, more gain. Blue-collar workers are paid more than white-collar workers. The second is religion. For Thailand, Buddhism is state religion of Thailand, and 90% of people follow it. For hundreds of years, Buddhism has been closely related to customs, literature, and art. Buddhism has shaped the moral standards of Thais, which have formed the spiritual of tolerance, peace, and love. Australia is a country of religious freedom, where various religious beliefs, including Christianity, Catholicism, and so on. Under Australia's equal opportunity laws, no one is discriminated against on the basis of religious or belief. The third is language. There are about 68 million people speak Thai in all over the world. Thai language is mainly distributed in Thailand, Laos, northwest Cambodia, northeast India, and so on. The official language of Australia is English. Most of the population also speak English, but some of the immigrants spoke other languages. And then is education. For Thailand, the general principle of Thailand's education administration system is to develop modern education to meet the needs of modern society, to educate the public to cherish the principles of constitutional democracy, and to abide by the constitution, religions, traditions, and the will of the Thai king. Australian schools and colleges are administered by state or territory ministries of education, funded by the federal government, and the universities by the federal government. All Australian citizens and permanent residents are entitled to free primary and secondary education. And for political philosophy, the Constitution of Kingdom of Thailand stipulates that the Kingdom of Thailand is a democratic country with the king as its head of state. Australia's nominal head of state is the King of England and appoints the Governor-General as his representative, who in the place doesn't affect in the running of the government. The government of Australia is a federal system. For the economic philosophy, Thailand is an emergency economy, which is considered as a newly industrialized country. Thailand is the second largest economy in Southeast Asia, second only after Indonesia, but its GDP in 2012 was ranking in the middle of Southeast Asia, after Singapore and Malaysia. Australia is a highly developed capitalist country. Australia is rich in agriculture, animal husbandry, and natural resources. It is known as a country riding on the back of sheep, a country sitting on a harvester, and a country holding years of wheat. So, from the above comparison, we can see that the social structure, economy, philosophy, and education between Australia and Thailand shows similar characteristics, and these parts are going to be similar. Language will not affect the trend of culture, but religion and political philosophy are hard to become similar because different country has different policy and belief.
Greetings. I will be using David Ricardo's statements to supplement the choice of industries Thailand should specialize in when trading with other countries, as well as Australia's industry strengths. David Ricardo believed that countries should specialize in products that they produce efficiently and produce less of goods that they produce comparatively less efficiently. Similarly, resources should be focused more on efficiently producible products and less on the other ones. The country should outsource inefficiently producible products from other countries. This will lead to higher overall productivity in the country. I will briefly now overview the Thailand economy. Thailand's economy is strengthening every year. The year 2012 witnessed a burst in growth of 6.4%. Exports also grew by 16.1% in the same year, which was a major reason for the majority of country's income. The major industries in Thailand are agriculture, construction and mining, as well as logistics and communication. These industries support the Thailand's economy. Thailand is the world's largest exporter of rice and wants to cross a threshold of 9 million tons by next year. Thailand exports products like rice, coffee, sugarcane, sugar, coconuts, etc. It can specialize in this industry and lead to comparative advantage with support from the government. Thailand can bring in greater income and royalties from other countries by exporting these products. Thailand's mining industry is very strong. They harvest gold, silver, iron, zinc, limestone, gypsum and basalt. Mining and construction provides a lot of employment and brings in income and royalties from other countries. They have cheap labor which leads to efficiency in the processes of mining. CH Karchang Public Limited is the largest construction company in Thailand and it aids mining as well as other industries. It is responsible for infrastructure in the country. It is responsible for a majority of country's construction industry and supports the industry by itself. The computer industry as well supports other industries, which makes it important in this criteria. Thailand is efficient in producing computers at cheap costs and exporting them to other countries. The computer knowledge and increasing literacy in Thailand has boomed production in the country. Now, the Australia's major industries are mining and agriculture. The mining industry in Australia supports the GDP by 8.5%. Australia is efficient in exploration, tracking, and processing minerals like gold, coal, bauxite, and so on. It is the largest miner of bauxite. The agriculture industry in Australia is famous worldwide for its quality and fresh products. It employs a whopping 300,000 people. Farms cover 60%, 61% of Australia's landmass. Australia is most efficient in horticulture and can produce large amounts of cattle products as well. Other products are wheat, milk, fruits and vegetables, wool and cotton, and so on. Australia has a comparative advantage in these industries and can divert resources from other industries which they are not efficient in. Examples include the textile industry and the automobile industry. By support from the government and subsidies, Australia can lead the world in mining and agriculture industry. It is the world's largest producer of alumina, rutile, and tantalum as well. The second largest producer of uranium, lead, ilmenite, zircon, and lithium. Similarly, correcting Thailand's resource allocation will lead to greater productivity in the country.
So let's talk about the part B questions. Australia is a big mixed economy country and it's the largest mixed market economy with a gross domestic product about 1.69 trillion Australian dollars. When Australia trade with other countries, there are several of industry can be considered when it in the trade. The first one is the mining industry, which is the most important driving force for the exploration of remote Australian lands and the industrial advancement with more than 120 billion Australian dollars currently invested in new projects. From the fourth quarter in 2017 to the first quarter in 2018. The GDP from mining increased from $24 million to $26 million. Australia is the world's largest miners of bauxite, iron, and zinc, which generates earnings of around $245 billion in export earnings. The mining industry has over 600 publicly traded companies. The following is the agriculture sector, which accounts for 3% of Australia in 2017, which contributed to 0.5% increase of the total 1.9% increase in the GDP. It has employed over 300,000 people and covered 60% of the land mass, generally over 50 billion and about 60% of the farm's produce is exported annually, making 14% of the total export. And Australia has contributed 51% of world's organic products. For example, some high-quality milk like A2 and wool and wheat. So all in all, although globalization has a negative impact on Thai at the beginning, it had a greater positive impact than negative impact in the later stages. Therefore, even though there has been a recession, the growth brought by globalization led Thai to a prosperous period, and the Thailand economic development and human development has good condition in recent years. For Australian firms, economic development has a great significance in Thailand than human development. From the above comparison, we can see that the social structure, economic philosophy, and education between Australia and Thai shows similar characteristics, and these parts are going to be similar. Language will not affect the trend of culture, but religion and political philosophy are hard to become similar because different country has different policy and belief. The last one is, according to David Ricardo, Thai will lead to greater overall productivity if it focused on agriculture, mining, and computer industries. Also, Australia has a major comparative advantage in mining and agriculture industries. Thanks for your attention.